Global warming public awareness. Global warming is definitely the single greatest environmental change the planet Earth is facing at present. It is essential to understand the gravity of the situation. The fuel which you can use in order to power homes, cars, business, and more is heating up the planet faster than we expected. We are recording the hottest days and decades ever. What's alarming is that the temperature of the Earth has climbed to the highest point it has ever been in the past 12,000 years. It only gets worse from here if we don't stop it now. As the planet is phasing up today, we need to collectively act right now instead of waiting for more. The primary cause of global warming is fossil fuels. Human beings are addicted to burning them, which produces coal, oil, and greenhouse gases. The power plants, cars, and industries produces carbon dioxide, which stays in the atmosphere for 5 decades more. This is the reason why the temperature of the Earth rises. Due to the rise in temperature, the oceans are rising and the coral reefs are dying. Many aquatic species are going extinct while the glaciers are melting. You will be surprised to know that Greenland is losing 20% more mass than it received from new snowfall. Thus, it will keep shrinking as the earth warms. The heat waves, droughts, floods are now taking place in greater intensity and frequency. The hurricanes are doubling up in the nature in terms of occurrence, and the Katrina hurricane is enough to prove this point. Furthermore, the Greenland and Western Antarctic ice sheets are at great risk of melting completely. Please note that these two ice sheets presently hold around 20% of the Earth's fresh water. The rise in sea levels will damage the coastal areas globally. Moreover, the regularity of hurricanes, tornadoes, and other may become more volatile, spreading malaria and other deadly diseases. The time is now to do something to prevent global warming. It will be irreversible. Electricity and transportation contribute largely to global warming, so we must begin there. It is important to note that there is no sister ballot and we must all come together to tackle global warming as a whole. Every home, business, industry, and individual effort is required to tackle this crisis. As coal produces tons of carbon dioxide annually, we need to find ways to clean up coal. We can also tackle global warming by beginning with putting agriculture in a system. We must encourage farmers to adapt to greener farming practices. For instance, we must till land less often and plant trees in vacant land. Moreover, the same regime needs to be applied to other industrial producers of carbon dioxide. The transportation energy of cars, trucks, planes, and more produces 28% of the carbon dioxide emissions. Thus, we must reduce this emission by enhancing the fuel efficiency of the vehicles. Also, it is the high we got rid of oil and gasoline based fuels and option for greener alternatives. Leading scientists say that to stabilize planet's climate by the end of the century, we need a 70% reduction in carbon dioxide. So the global should be phasing today. So the goal should be to stabilize carbon dioxide at 40% parts per million by 2050. This could contain further warming to 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit. The Earth has warmed a degree in the most century, and we are now seeing the dramatic effects. And things will only get worse as Earth's temperature rises. The question is, how much will the increase be if nothing is done? If the Earth warms 5 to 9 degrees Fahrenheit, the face of our planet will change forever. The Greenland and the Western Antarctic ice sheets would melt completely. These two ice sheets currently hold 20% of the Earth's fresh water. And if we move beyond that, tipping point catastrophic becomes a certainty. You can't go back because the carbon dioxide remains in the atmosphere so long. That's why we must act some and decisively right now. The question is, what should we do? The Philippines and the United States emit some 25% of the world's greenhouse gases, and we're 4% of the world's population. So we are the big producer. The largest contributor to global warming is the electricity generation. 30% of that followed by the transportation, which is 20%. These two sectors combine to make up 61% of the problem. The remaining contributions are industry, which is 20%, agriculture 70%, commercial 6.5%, residential 6.5% also. Let me be clear, there is no silver bullet. There is no one thing that we can do to solve the problem. Every business, home, and industry must do its share. So what can be done? Let me begin with electricity generation. This is the single largest pest of global warming puzzle responsible for 30% of global warming gases in which the United States and the Philippines is facing today. Earlier this year, the Senate Energy Committee held a symposium on global warming. The consensus was that a mandatory CAPE, a tracker program, would be the most effective way forward as we are working to create a meaningful way of how to lessen carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Here's where it would work. We should cap the amount of global warming gases. In all livelihood, the cap would begin at present levels for viewers to the given industry opportunity to make the changes necessary. Electricity producers would have two ways to melt the cap. Either implement how technologies or purchase credits from other companies that have reduced their emission below the target cap. So the point thing is here, how we can solve the global warming. The first thing we should know is the private and the public partnership that funds key carbon dioxide reduction projects on bilateral basis. It's so important the business community should consider investing in joint ventures to develop clean power quickly in the world as well as the Philippines. Thank you.